Gribble in 17 says he can't get any hot water. And Mrs. Perkins in 12 has been ringing and ringing for Judy to come up and rub her back. And none of the downstairs rooms have been changed yet. And if we...
Doggone it, how long do I have to wait for a basin of hot water?
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Gribble. We just can't find Judy.
Judy, no place out in back, Mama.
Oh, I'll look upstairs. Twinny, run into the kitchen and get Mr. Gribble some hot water.
Yes.
Good morning, Miss Weezy. Judy? Hello? No, Mrs. Chuffy, we don't know where Judy is. Yes, I'll try and get somebody to take care of it right away. Judy! It's all Judy's fault. If she hadn't have disappeared, everything wouldn't be going wrong. Mama, have you found Judy yet? I can't imagine where that girl can be. Oh, Mr. Dudley just phoned and he'll be over this afternoon to fix the elevator. He wanted to be sure he could get down into the basement. The elevator. The basement! So there you are. Oh, gee, I'm sorry, Aunt Sarah. The elevator broke down and... Oh, they're ringing from the second floor. Never mind that. They can use the stairs. Judy Canova, do you realize you're behind with your chores? Yes, Aunt Sarah. I'm sorry. Take me back up to the lobby, and you come up the back stairs. Yes, ma'am. I'll have your luggage brought right in, and the dining room is over there, sir.
Here's the mail, Daddy.
Mama, have you found Judy yet? That gentleman has some luggage to be brought in. What? Bring in the luggage for room 22, Judy. Yes, Aunt Sarah. It's just like Judy to be hiding with all this work to be done. Hi, Mrs. Baxter.
Oh, hello, Judy.
You going to be able to make out to the farm today?
Yep, Aunt Sarah says I can have the afternoon off. I got to go to the bank first.
I'll pick you up and take you over.
Fine. I'll see you about 1.
Yeah.
Here's another one of those letters for Judy. Who's it from? Let me see it. That's the second letter Judy's received this week. There's no return address on it. Who would want to write to Judy?
I bet you Judy's got a feller.
What a ridiculous notion. My letter. Please, can I have it? Dear Charm School student, enclosed by number 3 of our Continental Correspondence course. It is entitled Your Allure. Allure. Allure is the magic of your emotion. Follow the instructions carefully. Lesson number 4 will be sent to you in a few days. You must ripple when you walk. Ripple. Sway like the willow in the warm evening breeze. Your hands are little doves that seek to fly away. Your feet are like flowers dancing in the wind. Stop this tomfoolery and catch up with your work if you expect to meet Mr. Speckleton before the bank closes. I'll hurry.
Because of my high regard for your Aunt Sarah, Judy, I'm prepared to renew your mortgage for another 6 months. But mind you, you must keep up the payment on the interest.
Oh, yes, Mr. Speckelman.
Now, the matter of taxes will be coming up in a few weeks. Are you prepared to pay them?
I'll think of something.
As long as you let old man Fetcher turn the farm into a home for his orphan grandchildren, why don't you charge him rent?
That's all he can do to make enough money to feed them all.
Well, that's your problem. If it were my place, they'd either pay or get out. Sign here. In here. In here. In here. In here.
Everything okay, Judy?
Yep. Mr. Speckleton was real kind and renewed the note.
If you're a little short, Judy, I made some extra change today, and...
Oh, thanks just the same, Mr. Fetcher. You keep it for them kids.
Tara, you go outside and watch for Grandpa and Judy. Okay. Where are the cameras? That's all I could find. Judy's coming! Judy's coming! You better hurry up!
Maybe you don't know it, but you're having a birthday surprise party.
Oh, but today ain't my birthday.
You better not tell the kids that. They've been making plans all week.
Put this blindfold on her. It's a surprise party. We don't want her to see the cake. I got a blindfold you, Judy. It's a big surprise.
Oh, my gracious. Okay, no tricks now.
The cake. I'll hide it.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm getting busy. What's this all about anyway? What's going on here? I'm so curious I could pop.
Take the blindfold off now, Judy.
Okay, here goes. Well, what do you know? Would you look at that? A celebration. Who's it for?
Yes.
Well, let me see now.
Oh, get out.
A real birthday cake. We all made it.
It's got presents inside of it. We know you're older, but we could only find one candle.
Oh, you wonderful kids. This is a real surprise.
Light the candle, Judy.
Yeah.
Don't forget to make your wish, Judy.
I'm mighty glad that I was born on my birthday, 'cause that's my very favorite day of the year. And what a calamity it would be to be born some other day. No one would know when to wish me birthday cheer. So I'm tickled pink that I was born on my birthday. I love to see the cake and candles appear. And I wouldn't trade with Washington or Lincoln, that's quite clear, 'cause my birthday is my favorite day of the year. wouldn't trade with Betsy Ross or even Paul Revere, 'cause my birthday is my favorite day of the year.
Hey, I got one of the surprises.
Let me see.
I got the dime. That means I'm going to be rich.
I got the symbol.
That means you're going to be an old maid.
I got the ring. I'm gonna get married. Goody. What you get, Judy?
What is it,
What
Judy?
you get?
I got the six stopper.
I thought we could go for a ride and maybe wind up at the park and feed the ducks.
Horace, how wonderful.
I brought along plenty of stale breadcrumbs.
About another letter for Judy? I can almost see it. Betty Grebe, you ought to be ashamed of yourself trying to read other people's mail. Why, I was no such thing.
Judy's got a feller. Judy's got a feller.
I certainly have not. Who is it, Judy? Well, it certainly isn't a fella, Mama. Judy's never even been able to get a young man to look at her. Is that so, Betty Grebe? Well, for your information, it is for my fella. What?
Anyone we know, Judy?
I got a feller, but it's nobody you know. Well, I declare. Don't be silly, Mama. Judy's making it up. Is that so? My fella's better looking than your fella, and he's got more money, too.
Judy Canova, if you have a young man, it's my responsibility to find out something about him. Who writes these letters to you, Judy?
She probably writes them to herself and has somebody mail them from out of town. That's a lie.
Watch your language, Judy.
I can prove she's lying, Mama. What's his name? Poindexter.
Poindexter?
March, the 3rd.
The 3rd?
Well, lots of wealthy families name their rich sons that way.
Oh, so he's rich. I suppose next he'll tell us he's handsome as a movie star.
He sure is.
That's enough nonsense, Judy. You'd better drop the whole subject and get on with your work.
Judy ought to be made to admit she's lying, Mama. How come if he's such a rich and handsome fellow, he doesn't ever see you?
He's in the Army. He doesn't get much time off. Maybe he's telling me in this letter when I'm going to see him.
Why don't you open it and see?
Oh, you're so smart, Betty Grebe. Well, I'll show you. Well, what do you know? My fella wants me to meet him in Crestville this afternoon. Too bad I won't be able to make it.
Crestville?
He's coming in by bus. Can stop over for only a couple of hours. Gee, it's too bad I didn't know sooner so I could have got the day off and gone in to see him. Poindexter's going to be real disappointed.
Wait a minute. I've got a great idea. Horace can drive you to Crestville right away and you can still make it. Tweenie and I'll come along for the ride.
Oh, no.
Sure, that's a wonderful idea. Then we can all meet Judy's fella.
But, Aunt Sarah, you know, I promised to clean all the woodwork and shake out all the rugs.
But, Judy, it wouldn't be right to not be at the bus station to meet your fella.
Come on, Horace. I don't feel so good.
Oh, goody, the bus hasn't arrived yet.
Maybe we've missed it. Gee, what'll Poindexter think? Well, I guess I might as well turn around and go back to Grebeville.
Oh, here it comes now. Yep, right on time.
go meet your fella.
Yeah, what's holding you back, Judy? How come you're not standing by the bus to hug and kiss him the minute he gets off?
Go on, Judy. Go on.
Anybody meeting you, mister? If not, could I walk with you a little ways? You see, I told some folks I was meeting a fellow on this bus, and I'll never hear the last of it if I don't make some kind of a showing.
How well do you know this fellow?
Oh, a whole lot. At least that's what I told them.
In that case, we should be mighty glad to meet each other, shouldn't we? Let's go meet your friend. By the way, what's our names?
I'm Judy Canova.
I'm glad to meet you, Judy.
And you're Poindexter March the 3rd.
Well,
Gee, you don't have to do no more pretending, though. Thanks, you've done more than enough.
I'm supposed to meet a fella here, but he hasn't shown up yet. Why don't we all go have a soda while I'm killing time? Thanks, I'll get it. Oh, never mind. I'll take care of it.
Hey, look at that. Judy was right about her feller being rich. Ow, what'd you kick me for, Betty? Judy says you got a cattle ranch in Texas and own a lot of oil wells.
Tweenie.
Well, she did, too.
Tweenie, Mr. March doesn't want to talk about himself.
Matter of fact, Tweenie, you'd love the ranch. How'd you like to pay us a visit during Roundup this fall?
Gosh.
It's been a good year for petroleum, but I'm thinking of getting rid of about half of my oil wells. I like raising cattle better.
I'd like to have you come to Greenville and meet Dad.
Horace's father owns the bank there and knows all kinds of important people. So does Mama. She has the hotel there.
Sounds like a good idea. Say, it's almost time for the next bus to be coming in. You won't mind if Judy and I excuse ourselves while we say goodbye?
What you gonna do, smooch and hug?
Now, don't forget, Tweenie, we've got a date on the ranch this fall, just as soon as I get out of the Army. Well, it's sure been a pleasure meeting you, Betty and Horace.
Gee, you don't know how grateful I am for what all you've done, but you didn't have to tell all them lies.
Lies?
Oh, about cattle ranches and oil wells.
How do you know they're lies?
You mean it's all true?
In case your friends are watching. Goodbye, Judy. What's with the dame, Nick? I don't know. Maybe we'll pick a town called Greenville for our little deal.
Dear charm school student, the time has come for you to practice your home beauty aids. Use the materials you will find in your charm kit and follow instructions carefully. Number 1, put on your glamour cream. All right?
Hi, Betty.
Poindexter. I mean, Mr. March. Oh, my. Oh, Mama, come here quick and meet Mr. Poindexter March the 3rd.
Oh, Mr. March, we've heard so much about you. I'm Judy's Aunt Sarah. Judy's a wonderful girl. We're all so crazy about her.
I can see now where Betty and Judy get their good looks, Mrs. Green.
Well, Judy's upstairs in her room. Tweenie, go upstairs and tell Judy Mr. March is here. Go on, Tweenie.
Oh, yes, Mother. Mickey, oh, Judy doesn't answer.
Judy, it's me, Poindexter. Have you got a key to this room?
Tweety, run down to the desk and get a passkey. Hurry.
There's nothing in here.
Judy must be someplace, Mr. March. We'll find her.
Judy!
It ain't Mr. Poindexter March the 3rd.
Gracious, where have you been? We've been looking all over for you.
Golly, I was up in the attic setting mouse traps.
In your Sunday clothes?
While you were catching mice, you almost lost Mr. March.
I've got a lot to tell you, Judy. How about coming with me for a spin in my new car?
Could I, Aunt Sarah?
Of course, Judy.
Heavens to Betsy, ain't it pretty?
You certainly get a beautiful view from up here.
Practically all of Canova County.
Your family must be pretty important, having a county called after them.
Yeah, I guess the Canovas was once. Daddy didn't live very long after he lost all his money, and Mama died when I was real little. Look, you can see the old farm from here. Papa left it to me. Guess it ain't worth very much, but I'll always keep it as long as I can keep paying the interest on the mortgage.
This property may be worth more than you think someday.
It'll always be worth a lot to me. I wouldn't sell it, not even if I was offered $1,000.
Judy, make me a promise.
Sure, but
Promise me you won't sell this farm unless you ask me first.
Mr. March.
Call me Poindexter.
Hey, that reminds me. You're not Poindexter March the 3rd. Just who are you, and what are you doing in Grieveville running around telling all them big whoppers and letting folks think that you're, well, I mean, not letting them know that you ain't, oh, you know what I mean, Mr. Poindexter March or whoever you are.
It's all very simple, Judy. Before you made me up, I didn't exist. I was just a nobody.
But you're not Poindexter March the 3rd.
I am now, ever since you invented me. Can he stay around a while? As your friend?
Shucks, yeah. If he wants to.
You've no idea how much this is going to mean to him.
Oh, you didn't have to do that. I could have opened it.
Did you have a nice time, dear?
Yes, ma'am.
I expect to be here about a week, Mrs. Grieb. Maybe you have a spare room I could move into.
Indeed, I have.
Betty, show Mr. March the room that Mr. Cobby just vacated.
Right this way, Mr. March.
See you later, Judy.
Judy, you have your chores to catch up on.
Yes, ma'am.
Franklin,
Yes?
I am General Shevington Ballard of the United States Army.
General? How do you do?
What I have to discuss is of utmost importance to national security. In the President's office, there's a secret map which shows little dots scattered across the face of the United States. Well, these dots mark the new locations where vital war plants will be set up, Mr. Franklin. One of these dots falls right here on Greenville.
My goodness, you mean we're to have a war industry here?
I've been commissioned by the government to acquire the property. Naturally, it is as much of a saving to the taxpayers as possible.
Naturally.
Now, once I've selected the property, I want you to acquire it for us. In that way, nobody will know what it's for, and we'll get it much cheaper.
I'd be glad to. I consider it my patriotic duty to help. No question about it, Mr. Ballard. I mean, General, you can count on me.
Good. I need not stress the importance of keeping this entire matter absolutely top secret.
Oh, I won't breathe it to a soul.
Arch your back. Stand erect. For a lady must always appear to be chic and correct. That's the first lesson of the Continental Correspondence Charm School. Point your toes when you walk, and be certain your voice has a musical tone when you talk. That's the second lesson of the Continental Correspondence Charm School. Oh, I read every word, but when I'm with a fella, all my charms seem to fail. There must have been a lesson that told about love, but I guess it got lost in the mail. Learn to laugh. Play croquet. Croquet, I don't even like them. And be sure that you learn how to waltz in a dignified way. That's the third lesson of the Continental Correspondence Charm School. If I get that fella pretty soon, it's gonna be the last lesson of the Continental Correspondence Charm School for me.
Golly, I didn't know anybody was watching. You looking for a room?
Yes, I'll be staying in town several days.
Room 27's got a bath, and it'll cost you $4 a day. Will that be all right?
Fine.
Register, please. I'll take care of your baggage.
All right.
Here's the bathroom. If you want any hot water, just knock on the pipe a couple times.
That'll be fine. There you are.
Golly, thanks. If you want anything, just phone down the desk and I'll fetch it for you.
Hello, Professor. Welcome to Greenville.
Oh, hello, Nick.
we'd better not be seen together. Don't worry, it's all right. How'd you make out at the bank? Well, from the looks of the banker, we've got a cinch deal in this burg. I've got the property all lined up for you. It belongs to a girl named Canova, and she'll do anything I tell her.
Fine, Dexter. Golly, I didn't know you two was friends. I forgot your briefcase.
Oh, thank you. This is a business associate of mine. Judy, I want you to meet Mr. Ballard. He's in charge of my oil well investments. This is Miss Canova, the girl I was telling you about. Well, how do you do?
Pleased to meet you.
He's here because a minor business crisis has come up quite unexpectedly.
Oh, I hope it ain't too minor a crisis.
Well, nothing we can't fix. That's providing word of this private emergency meeting doesn't leak out.
I'll keep it a dark secret.
Atta girl, Judy.
It is with a real sense of pride and pleasure, yes, it's a privilege, to invite my dearest friends to this little dinner party for Mr. March.
The pleasure is really all mine, Mrs. Reed.
It's a thrill to all of us.
Well, I'm sure it's thrilling for Betty to meet a man of Mr. March's achievements.
Mr. March, how many oil wells did you say you own?
I've really lost count since the new field came in.
Pass the olives to Mr. March, Betty.
Would you care for an olive, Mr. March?
No, thank you.
I would.
My. I wonder what's happened to Judy in the consummate course.
Mr. March, Greenville may be small, but it's an up-and-coming community. Plenty of chance for investment. Why don't you come down to the bank someday and have a little talk with me?
Thank you, Mr. Speckleton. I'd like to.
After dinner, Betty will sing for us. Won't you, Betty? Oh, my. She really has a very excellent voice. Judy, it's cold.
Can I take it back and warm it up, Aunt Sarah?
No, never mind.
Sweeney, get back in the kitchen and finish your supper, and keep this door clear.
Poor Judy. She tries so hard, but she's so slow to learn. It's her background. Judy?
Coming, Aunt Sarah.
Mr. Speckleton's water glass is empty.
So, Mr. March, we'll look forward to seeing you at the bank tomorrow.
Now switch it down.
Oh, golly, here's a
This is an
basket.
expensive suit, and water will leave marks on it.
I declare, what's the matter with you, Judy?
Oh, gee, I'm real sorry, Mr. Speckleton.
Clear off the consomme dishes, Judy, and do be careful.
Queenie, stay in the kitchen and take that skate off.
Pardon me a moment, please. Yes, Mr. Ballard.
I've located the property I want.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Now, the United States government will go as high as $50,000. But get it for less if you can.
50,000.
The deadline is Wednesday. Now, if we can't have it by then, an alternate location will be purchased. Now, I'm returning to Washington immediately. You can reach me at the Pentagon. But don't call me. I'll call you.
Oh, but you haven't told me yet what property to buy.
Oh, it's a 25-acre strip known as the Canova Farm.
Canova.
Now, you'll have the deal sewed up for me by Wednesday noon.
Huh? Oh, yes. No problem at all.
Is everything all right, Clover?
Huh? Yeah, yes, of course, dear. Why shouldn't it be?
Judy! Oh, Mr. Speckleton! Oh!
Now, think nothing of it, Judy. What are a couple couple of spots on a suit anyway. Besides, it was all my fault. I shouldn't have been in your way. $50,000 divided by 2 gives us $25,000 apiece. To think I could have foreclosed on that place less than a week ago.
I know I won't have any trouble convincing Judy to hand that property over to me. Is everything ready for Judy to sign?
Yes, indeedy. And when you have the title of the property, I'll tell the general that you're going to hold out for the full $50,000.
Oh, hello, Judy.
Oh, hi, Mr. Werple. Is my aunt, Mr. Speckleton, here?
In here, Judy.
Sit down, Judy.
Oh, thank you.
You don't know it yet, but you're a very fortunate young lady.
I am?
Yes, indeed. I'm very happy to tell you that you no longer have to pay interest on your mortgage.
I talked it over with Mr. Speckleton, and I'm ready to pay the mortgage on that old farm of yours and take the property off your hands. Aren't you pleased?
But I want to keep the farm, Aunt Sarah.
You what?
It's wonderful of you to want to take on all the expense and responsibility of owning that property, but I just don't see how I could ever bring myself to give it up.
Maybe you don't understand. I'm ready to take over the mortgage and assume an obligation you cannot afford anymore.
You're going to lose the property anyway. You won't be able to pay the taxes, and I won't be able to renew the note again.
I know it sounds real mean of me, but I just can't bear the thought of giving up that place. Besides, where would poor Mr. Fetcher and all them kids live?
They're not your problem. Now show your intelligence, Judy, and sign this.
No, ma'am.
Perhaps if your aunt were to offer some slight sum in addition...
I refuse to be blackmailed. Come to your senses, Judy, or consider yourself no longer working for me.
Oh, Aunt Sarah. I'm sorry, Aunt Sarah. Maybe I should have listened to Aunt Sarah and Mr. Speckleton. Maybe it was wrong trying to hold on to the farm.
That was the smartest move you ever made, Judy. You'll wind up one of the richest girls in Greveville if you do what I tell you.
You feel all right? Maybe you've been riding around in the sun too much without a top.
You know what that is?
Looks like ordinary sagebrush to me.
This is Artemisia tridentata.
What?
Artemisia tridentata.
Artemisia tridentata.
And it's going all over your place. Now, that's all I'm going to tell you at this time. And that's why I want you to promise me that you won't sell your property unless you get an offer of $25,000.
Now, I know you had too much sun, Mr. March. Nobody'd ever pay that much for it. You can be sure of that.
You want to bet?
That's enough. What if Judy finds out? How can she? You really gonna shoot it? Sure. Boy, I'll bet this is shoot a mile. There's a ferocious creature. Watch me blast. Don't you dare shoot my turtle. And somebody bring in Judy.
This is Johnny.
Hi, Johnny.
This is Billy.
Hi, Billy.
And that's Terry.
Hello, Terry. Didn't know you had a family, Judy.
Oh, shucks, they're not mine, but I sure wish there was. Come on in the house.
Hey, that's a deal. Sure.
Come on, Tim. Kids, you're gonna have to make room for me. Looks like I'm going to be staying here for a while.
Boy, are we going to have fun now.
Goody, goody. That will be wonderful, Judy.
Why, it's Aunt Sarah and Mr. Speckleton.
They're certainly not wasting any time. Judy, remember what I told you. Artemisia tried and taught it. Take a sniff if you feel yourself slipping. I'd better keep out of sight. It'll be better if they don't know I'm here.
Come here, Judy. I want to talk to you.
I got a turtle. So what? I ain't afraid to touch turtles. Want to see my turtle? Uh-huh. Come on.
Judy, dear, I talked it over with Mr. Speckleton, and I've decided to pay an additional $100 for the property.
No, ma'am.
$200.
No, sir.
My absolutely final offer is $300, and I only make you that offer because of my deep love for you.
Artemisia Tridentatory.
Hmm?
No, Aunt Sarah, not even for $300.
Come on, Mr. Speckleton. We've wasted enough time here.
Give you half a jackknife for it. Here's a Space Blaster comic book. Hey, that's real cool.
You want it, Terry?
No, I want my turtle.
Tweenie, we're leaving at once. Hurry, get back in the car. Hurry up, Tweenie. Judy, come here a minute.
Yes, Aunt Sarah?
I declare I don't know what you see in this hovel, but I suppose it holds some sentimental attraction for you. I'll give you $500.
No, ma'am.
1,000.
No, sir. I'm going to faint.
Judy, I'm surprised at you after all your loving aunt has done for you.
It's because of the Artemisia Tridentatory.
The what?
It's growing all over the place.
Take it away. I'm allergic to sagebrush.
Oh, but this ain't sagebrush, Mr. Speckleton. It's Artemisia Tridentatory.
How about some fine space goggles? That's just old pair of sunglasses. You keep still.
No weeds could be worth more than $2,000.
What is your price?
$25,000.
You realize what you're saying? You must be out of your mind.
Yes, sir.
Take me home, Speckleton. I've had all of this I can spend. $10,000, and that's final. Well, I never...
Good girl, Judy.
Tweenie, get in the back seat. Go on. Be quiet, Tweenie. $25,000. She must be out of her mind.
Artaxexus, Artemis, Artemisia tridendata. Why, it's nothing but Latin for common ordinary sagebrush.
Sagebrush? What could sagebrush have to do with it?
Well, we haven't got time to find out whether it's got anything to do with it or not. I know a way to force Judy's hand. Fetch her.
Fetch her?
I think I'll have a talk with him. No, you stay here.
Listen to the sleepy serenade. It's the theme of every dream parade. When the firelight flickers and the Sandman comes a-stealing, then you hear the sleepy serenade. It's a tender, haunting little tune, one to carry you beyond the moon. Dim the lights and listen, and you'll know that floating feeling when you hear the sleepy serenade. And by, when the moon is a-beaming, a certain star will be shining for you. Just make a wish for the dreams you are dreaming. That star is sure to make your wish come true. Now it's time to climb the stairs to bed. Pillows wait for every sleepy head. Close those drowsy eyes, and while the angels watch above you, listen to the sleepy serenade. Listen to the sleepy serenade. I was worried about you, Mr. Fetcher.
I had some late fares, and I was just...
Is something wrong?
Can I speak to you for a minute, Judy? Outside?
Sure. You kids gotta go to bed.
Oh, not now. It's too early. You were gonna read us a story first.
Later. I'll be back in a minute.
Now, come on, kids. Do what Judy says and get ready for bed.
But Judy was gonna tell us a story first.
She'll be right back. Now, come on, upstairs, all of you. Come on, upstairs. And Mr. Speckleton said, according to the law, the kids ain't getting the proper care. And he said he's taking the whole matter up with the welfare board tomorrow unless...
Unless what, Mr. Fetcher?
Well, he said unless you could get your Aunt Sarah to talk him out of it. He said you'd know what he meant.
Oh, I know what Mrs. Speckleton means. But you ain't got no call to worry, Mr. Fetcher. Everything's going to be fine from now on. Now, you go on in the house and eat some of that good dinner I saved for you.
You sure made me feel better, Judy.
Judy.
Mr. March, you
skinflint Speckleton threatened to do about the children.
Now I'll have to sell that, Sarah, no matter what she offers me.
No, you won't. Now repeat after me. I, Judy Canova, do solemnly swear
I, Judy Canova, do solemnly swear
to accept no less than $25,000 from a greedy old scheming aunt who'd sell her soul for a dime.
Oh, Mr. Poindexter March, how can you say such a thing about Aunt Sarah?
I didn't say what I really think. Anyway, say you won't sell for less than $25,000, so help me, Hannah.
So help me, Hannah. Goodness, what have I done?
You just made me a promise you've got to keep.
Poindexter.
Hey, Judy! Dad said for me to pick you up and bring you to the bank right away.
Dear, do I have to come now?
Well, take a tip from me, Judy. Don't go crossing up your aunt any more than you have already. Now, come on, jump in.
Wait a minute, I have to get my purse. Please, Mr. March, don't make me keep my promise. It's a real emergency, and if I can come out of it with anything for them kids,
Believe me, Judy, I wouldn't steer you wrong. Now, your aunt will be glad to pay the $25,000. I know what I'm talking about. Now, remember, not 1 cent less than $25,000.
I'll be back just as soon as I can.
Mr. March, Judy going to see Mr. Speckleton at the bank?
Yes, and I'm shutting off too, Mr. Fetcher. There's been a sudden change in some business plans I have to take care of.
Judy know you're leaving?
No, she's got enough to think of. I may not see her again, so tell her so long and lots of luck, huh?
Your aunt asked me what I thought would be a fair price for your property. I told her that $10,000 was entirely too much.
And in case I don't buy, Judy, I'm informing the welfare board about the Fetcher children at once. Well? Speak up, Charles. What's your price?
$25,000.
I've washed my hands of you. I'm going to the welfare board this afternoon.
Hello. Oh, hello, General.
I'm just checking to see how you're coming with the property.
Well, things are coming along very nicely, General. Yes, General.
Come on, Judy.
Yes, well, the owner's asking a little bit more than I anticipated. As well, you see, I'm very anxious to save the government all the money I can.
Unfortunately, they've moved the deadline up on us another 12 hours. That makes it a little awkward, Speckleton.
Good heavens. But that means noon today.
I know it doesn't give you much time, but, well, just between you and me, the government will raise the ante another $10,000 if it'll speed matters up.
I'm sure it'll speed things up, General. Yes, indeed. Now, I'm sure we'll be able to meet the deadline. Yes, sir. Sarah, come here. Leave Judy. We'll be able to pay Judy the full $25,000. The general says the government will pay $60,000, and that leaves $35,000 to split two ways.
Oh, hello, Nick. Say, you sure trained that hayseed chick of yours. She's giving the banker a bad time. Now, as soon as this deal's closed, you've got to sign the money over to you right away. That ought to be a cinch. She'll believe anything you tell her now. Not bad for 3 days' work, huh? I'm not going through with the rest of this deal. Hey, don't kid around so early in the morning, Nick. I don't laugh so good on an empty stomach. I'm not kidding. My little hayseed chick, as you call her, is going to keep the 25 G's she's getting for her place. And what makes you think I'm going to take to this idea?
I don't care whether you take to it or not. That's the way it's going to be.
You haven't fallen for this Hicktown, babe.
No, of course not.
That's a crazy question. I've seen the dolls you like. Must be some other reason. I think I know what it is. All right, Nick. We'll clear out of here and get located in some other town right away. Close that suitcase for me, will you?
Well, I didn't think you'd take it so good.
We're rich. It turned out just like Mr. March said it would. Take me out the farm quick so I can tell him. What's the matter?
Mr. March left right after you did, Judy. He said something came up in his business to make him change his plans. He said tell you goodbye and to wish you lots of luck.
Where's Mr. March now?
I don't know.
Hey, the whole barrel's full.
I still gotta get the buckshot in.
Boy, bet when you shoot it off now, John, folks will think they heard an atom bomb explode. Think it'll kick electric.
I ain't scared if it does.
Jiggers, here come the Grandpa and Judy.
Hi, Mr. Ballard. I just heard about poor Mr. March having to leave on account of business. Gee, I hope it ain't another one of them financial crises.
Miss Canova, well, you paid the money for this place.
Oh, gosh, yeah, just like Mr. March said, $25,000.
You have it with you?
No, sir, I got it deposited in the bank.
Oh, I see.
Say, why did Mr. March have to leave in such a hurry?
Well, it was a sort of unexpected thing, Miss Canova. Can we go someplace where we can talk?
Sure, come on in the house.
I didn't want to talk in front of Mr. Fetcher. Poor Poindexter. He's so proud. He made me promise not to tell you.
Well, not to tell me what, Mr. Ballard?
Well, it's his oil wells.
Another one of them emergencies?
Only this time, he'll be wiped out in 24 hours unless... Well, I knew that he had helped you, and...
Oh, I'll do anything I can to help. You know that. Just tell me what I can do.
Well, it's a matter of raising just a little money. $25,000 ought to do it. It would only be a loan. The whole amount would be paid back to you in 24 hours.
Oh, well, I ain't worried about that.
Well, just write out a check, miss, and I'll take care of the whole thing right away. Better make it out to cash. Now, don't you worry, Miss Canova. Everything's going to be all right.
You tell Mr. March that he should have known better than to walk off just because he got into a little trouble.
I'll be very glad to give him that message.
Hello, General. I was wondering what had happened to you. Yes. Got the property signed and sealed.
It so happens that the Planning Commission wants to look over the property right away. Can you meet us there?
Oh, yes. Yeah, fine. We'll be right there. There'll be a check for $60,000 waiting for us when we get to the farm.
Judy's signature, all right.
Well, hurry, man. Cash it. You're holding up a big deal.
Now, don't rush me. How do you want it?
$1,000 bills, 25 of them.
Biggest I've got is 20s. Not too many of them.
Well, quick then. Start counting.
Are you sure Mr. Speckleton said it was all right?
Of course, of course.
Where's Judy?
In the house.
Come here.
Oh, hello, Aunt Sarah, Mr. Speckleton. We're practically moved out.
Has anybody been here yet? Any government people?
Oh, only Mr. Ballard.
How long ago?
Well, shucks, he just left.
But he said for us to meet him here.
Did he say anything about a check?
Yeah, that's what it came about.
That's it. He gave it to Judy. Quick, hurry up. Give it to me.
I can't do that, Aunt Sarah. I gave it to him.
You what?
Let's get this straight. Just exactly what did happen.
Well, you see, it's about poor Mr. March. He got caught up again in another one of them emergency financial crises. So I wrote out a check for $25,000 to save his oil wells and his cattle.
You gave it to Mr. Ballard?
Yeah, he's an associate of Mr. March.
We've been swindled.
This Poindexter March III, who is he? What's his real name?
Gee, I don't know. I made him up.
You made him up.
We're ruined! And it's all your fault. You're in it with them. Oh, my money! My money! There's one of them now!
You swindler, I'll have the law on you, young man.
Stop beating your gums and hurry to the bank. There still may be time to stop in before he cashes Judy's check.
That's right! Mr. March, what happened to you?
There's no time for that now, Judy. We've got to catch that crook.
Quick, Mr. Badger!
We're taking a shortcut over the hills. You kids hold down the fort till we get back. You're gonna bag me a varmint. $5,010, $5,020, $5,030. That's all the tens I've got. I'll have to give you fives now. 5, 10. $102, $103, $104, $105. $148, $149, $150. That's all the ones I've got. That makes you $50 short. I'll have to give it to you in small change.
Oh, never mind that. I'll come back for it later.
Get your hands back where they belong. I'll get you some sacks for this here money, and while you're counting it over, I'll figure out the rest of it. Now, take your time figuring. I don't want any mistakes.
I'll take your word for it, Puff.
25, 50, 60.
General!
My money. That's my money.
They're crooks. Arrest them, Sheriff.
Don't anyone touch a bit of that money. It's mine. You obtained that under false pretenses. You have no right to it.
Those miserly cheapskates are trying to cheat you out of everything you've got. That money is yours, Judy.
Shut up, you.
No matter what Aunt Sarah and Mrs. Speckleton was trying to do, I couldn't keep that money. It wouldn't be right.
Judy, think of Fetcher and the kids.
Would I get the farm back?
Certainly. Who wants that old place?
Miss Canova, if you'll just sign this paper, we'll be back where we started. Your aunt will have her money, and you will have your farm.
But, Judy, I wanted you to have that money.
I could take it, Mr. March.
Take them away, Sheriff. I'll prefer charges later.
All right, fellas. Head for the lockup.
You're Judy Canova?
Yes, sir, that's right.
I'm Mr. Coswell of the Western Plains Oil Company. Our engineers have been making extensive tests for oil on your property.
Well, if you're thinking of buying it, ain't for sale. I'm never going to sell my farm as long as I live.
We're not thinking of buying, but the oil company would like to pay you $100,000 for the oil rights.
Did you say $100,000?
That's right.